So we're really happy to have you all here. And it's my pleasure to introduce Julia and Willi as part of our Webinars Insight series. And there's a couple of webinars still coming. We'll go over them in the end. And my job is here just to collect your questions, also to invite you for the discussion part at the end. I'll be happy whoever raises their hand to give you the rights then also to speak and come up in the podium. And today we will talk about the future. So it's a Foresight webinar, and it's especially interesting because we will talk about something that doesn't really exist yet, the shopping agent. And when AI shops for us, that's the main title of the webinar. That's why we have Julia and Willi here. And Julia is our VP Insights and Strategy. So she knows all about UX. And we also have Willi here. Willi is a friend and a partner from iSquare and a consultant. And he has been helping us over many years in workshops to look into the future, to do foresighting. And that's what we'll do today as well. And maybe, Willi, it's better when you explain what foresighting really is. And I'll hand over to you.
Great. Thank you very much, Philip. And yeah, it's about the role of foresight, the return on investment of foresight. And of course, the more dynamic the economy is, the more you need to know what happens next. And now today it's super dynamic. And you see in the left column that trend knowledge enables timely adaptation of strategy, strategical rigor, preparedness for wildcards, not just the future, but also wildcards, what is happening as a surprise, and so risk reduction. And it is already here now in small and medium businesses, while it was decades long more in the big companies like the DAX 30, which I consulted for 30 years in different frameworks and frames. And here in our context, it's about observing the trends around user experience and customer experience. So our focus is, of course, branch related. And this branch is here, of course, a research company, which need to know all the surroundings. You see in this colorful hexagon here, the different factors and aspects. And then we have projections like scenario reports. We had analysis. For instance, I made a UX trend report for iSquare some years ago. And we had initiatives like the AI Experience Lab. And we make ideation like having detailed scenarios like personalized intelligence, which is now already in 2026, already here with a highly personal intelligence, which is now just evolving. So the next slide, please. And here you see that I had to adjust to the signs of the times. Of course, I have to transform and pivot to the sorry, this was my little clock here to be not too long. To pivot to AI to transform my own business model, because future business models will work mostly on hybrid. AI is everywhere. I need to say this. And then we scan signals, build scenarios, and convert scenarios to action. This is the most important thing, because without the implementation, it is absolutely worthless. And here you see to the right a radar view with a now, next, and later time horizon, which was created by a simple, so to say, simple-minded AI. I use in parallel different AI agents and AI models. And here we won't discuss this, but you see, for instance, from SEO to geo on the right, we are going from search engine optimization to generative engine optimization, for example. You know this already, I guess. So on the next slide, please.
But that's the next is already mine then.
Yeah, so I'm good in time, I think.
Yes, you are. Yeah, thanks, Willi. And this is exactly why we asked you to join us today in this webinar, because we do want to take a look into the closer future or the nearer future. And more concrete, as the title already told you, we want to have a look at shopping agents and what they are going to change. And but maybe let's start with the typical e-com user journey, what it looks like today and has looked like over the past years, maybe you could say even decades, where we didn't have many big changes in those years. This is what we deal with nowadays, right? Our clients and us as well in our studies. So the user has either done some kind of research or has a very concrete intent, already knows exactly what he wants to buy, or he's been in touch with an ad. So there can be different starting points. And then either the journey starts at a homepage, or sometimes it starts directly in a category, for example. But no matter how, sooner or later, at some point in time, there will be the search result list, and then the back and forth between search result list and product details start, right? From list to one product detail page, then back to the search and open the next. And this is happening for a while, and then either a product is being added to a wish list or a shopping basket, or the checkout is really gone through. And that's an experience again itself, right? With the different shipping options, payment options, and yeah. And as I said, our studies deal with these user journeys, and of course, our clients work on them. So there's so many aspects you have to take into account, right? What's the arrival experience like? What's the search experience like? The navigation experience, the information experience on the PDPs and the search results, and so on. And what we do all the time, us and the clients as well, is working on how to optimize those different steps. That's kind of our professional life in this area, to look into those aspects. And that's why it's going to be a huge change, right? If now shopping agents come into play, what will the journey look like? And the way I imagine it, I try to sketch it here, is that probably many of the touch points, or at least parts of the touch points, simply won't happen anymore, right? If an agent starts for you, then the starting point as a user is probably your smartphone with your personal agent who knows your preferences and what you need. And the agent is going to come back either with product recommendations, or even you only have to confirm the purchase in the end. So many of those touch points we nowadays try to optimize might disappear in a way. So that's why it's so important, right, to think about it. And Willi, I know you found some more reasons, and you will share with us in a moment more reasons why we should definitely look into this now. But before we do so, I would have one question to the audience, or we would have it, and I'm really curious to see the results later. We would really like to know how many of you already deal with shopping agents, no matter if in your professional life or in your private life when you shop yourself. You see, Philip has started a short poll. Would be great if you could all. I'm not allowed to. I see it, but I can't answer. And yeah, would be great if you could all answer this. And in the end, we will have a look at the results, what the quota is here. Good. But as I said, Willi, you found some more good reasons why we should look into shopping agents and what they are going to change. One question, I see the poll in front of my screen. Is it the same for you, or is it only my view? You're muted, Willi, better stay.
It's still there, yeah. It's
And
please.
I can turn it off. I think
I could close it. Okay, then
I also could close it. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Okay,
Okay, then,
that's
Willi.
great. I did my homework, and now together, as I said, with AI always. This means that I use AI on every station of my workflow. And the first question is why shopping agents matter now? And if you use ChatGPT, for instance, which is a kind of very popular chatbot, you have already the pull down menu with a shopping assistant. It's called shopping assistant. And you have an agent mode, yeah? When you pay at least like 20 bucks, then you have these options. And the definition is, of course, crucial, but we don't go into it. There is an umbrella term, agentic AI, so to speak. And agency is definitely about more autonomy of the technological part compared to us as humans being a locus of control. And this way, we will see later that there is already a kind of metrics for this. And here you see to the right, there is an ecosystem of e-commerce in full transformation from search and click to ask and act. And now later, you see the 3 time horizons, now, next, and later, whenever this later is, yeah, don't press me on this. Discover and buy as a delegation. This means that you lean back and just let the AI do the work, which of course is a bit strange for some people, because if it already buys and has a purchasing power, then of course it's about a lot of economical power involved, and nothing should go wrong, for instance, in safety, in privacy, and so on. So shopping is shifting from web navigation to AI-mediated guidance and execution, as you can read. And the front door is moving here. Yeah, you have more direct actions, and the mediators like even Amazon might be under pressure in the future, because Amazon lived to be an aggregator actually of millions of stores, so to speak. And now think about a store having the option to be found by your personal shopping bot. Yeah. So what is the effects on brands? Brands face disintermediation risk, fewer classic touch points, and less direct UX control. And this is, of course, interesting for research. What really changes? Now, the next one, please. There are hard signals from the market already, not really delegation, which is a high-end scenario, but to have in-store generative AI shopping assistants like Amazon Rufus, which is embedded in Amazon shopping experience. And there you have Walmart, which is strategic about this. And there's this, and there says, the future of shopping is agentic. Meet Sparky. This is a quote from Walmart website. So the future of shopping is agentic. So there is an intention behind them to go this path. And to the right, you see already Rufus as a user interface from Amazon. And you can understand that basic things like showing the product you're looking for, asking you something, and so on, is essential here and stays the same in a way. And Google UCP is another blossom, so to speak, here, because a universal commerce protocol is, of course, the dream of all the people who want to run agents or agent autonomous assistants, because then the assistants or agents can connect and communicate with each other. And then Google is the typical company to be aware of it and create an open standard for this, to be a playmaker, a game maker kind of, and to enable all this agentic commerce across the entire shopping journey. So the next one, please. Yeah, Gartner said that in this year, 2026, we will see a drop of 25% in traditional search volume already, because the consumer gets used to it. I already used it for my travel. I tested it, and it helped me to save time in an unknown destination, for instance. where to go, what app do I need for public transport, what is a hotel, what is a good route, and so on. Instead of being here and there on the web, I used just the assistant, which is already there in ChatGPT, for instance, or not the assistant, I have to say the shopping assistant, but the agent mode in this way, yeah, which is already working quite good. So you can test it for yourself without being in the high end of a shopping assistant offered to you as a shopping agent, which is highly autonomous. So the platforms already did move, as I said in the slide before. Amazon Rufus means that the assistants are inside commerce. Then from the Walmart perspective, this means that it is in the customer experience foundations. It's not just a gimmick or a feature, but it will be foundational for the customer experience. This is the intention, the strategy of Walmart. So it's not a joke. It's a real strong trend, so to say, not only weak signals. And to the right here, you see what is happening with the Google Universal Commerce Protocol. You see all the involved or partners, so to say, of this Universal Commerce Protocol, Shopify, Etsy, and so on, also Walmart. And then Google can drive this when they offer to give you 20% off, what is here illustrated in my screenshot, which is just from a video of Google. You find this on the Google blog, and the links are below. So you can look it up and look at the full video if you have a deeper interest. What is already going on to have this agent to retailer execution based on the Universal Commerce Protocol. Next one. Yeah, what is actually new? I said it already. It's the autonomy. If you have a tool like a hammer, the hammer is not talking to you. We already had chatbots some years ago, which were very stupid and had some scripts. And now we have generative AI chatbots, which are much, much smarter and adaptive and so on. And this brings a new complexity in the UX world, in the UX dynamics, in the user journey, in the customer journey. Just one reminder, we didn't define what an agent is. There are much more than shopping agents, of course. And in a scenario I made in 2023 already on LinkedIn, and I can share it with you if you come back to me on LinkedIn or on any channel, I already said there will be a personal intelligence in the end. This means you have a personal intelligence with a digital twin of yourself, with a high privacy standard, and everything is now going exactly into this direction. For instance, Apple Intelligence probably will go into this direction too. And then you have, on the one hand, your personal agent, and on the other hand, you have the agent of the company or the brand or the platform. So you have at least 3 possible agents which might communicate or leave you alone, so they do it all for themselves, or they will ask you at a certain point of the process if you allow to buy this car, for instance. Then, of course, typically you will be asked if it's like more than $50 or so. And yeah, it's about the user intent and context, which is still the control center. And the customer journey then becomes a loop, which is illustrated in the graphics nearby. The graphics does not say so much, only much dynamics, like there will be adaptive AI agent models, because the best platforms will be adaptive to your needs, cognitive needs, emotional needs, time, pressure, and so on. And then they offer you how deep they will go with their autonomy of the agents. This is what is meant with adaptive agent models. And they coordinate, filter, decide, and execute, as you can read. It's not just the old chatbot game. So, and here, of course, you will see that the control shifts from the user a bit to the algorithm, and this will be also a part of regulatory efforts in the future, definitely. Next one.
And maybe just one addition. That's, of course, also from a psychological point of view, right? Highly interesting, this question, how much assistance does the user want when taking a decision, right? And I remember many years ago, I won't say how many, already in my PhD thesis, it was exactly about this assistance in decision making. And of course, there are so many aspects to consider and context factors, right? How many options are there? What is the decision about? And there's many aspects to take into account. But already then, and now it's even more virulent than before, it's this question. Yes, it can be helpful to get recommendations, but still there's a strong need in humans to have an overview on the different options there are, what the set is. And so it really becomes relevant now, so many years after the.
Yeah, just think about the trust factor and the personality and personalization. Just to come from personality to personalization is already, of course, a huge topic since years with AI to be more adaptive to the context of the consumer, even in the micro context, so to speak. And here you see now, to bring some order into this great landscape or the evolving landscape of or the agent involvement, you see the AI CX archetypes. I've changed the title in the last day to archetypes because you have a lot of variations, you have a lot of combinations in the future, and these are just the 4 very basic archetypes. For instance, if it's about your identity, your biography, your personal needs, then to the upper left you have the symbolic choice. And this can be supported by an agent, but not much autonomy, of course. And then you have the socially shaped choice, like what TikTok is doing already with using virtual agents to sell stuff 24/7 and offer this as a service to their TikTokers. And then you have on the right column the more involvement of AI with autonomy. Like think about buying a house. You will definitely not delegate it, but this is more assisted. And then you have to the bottom right, the full-blown automated delegation, which is just evolving now, but it's not already there. When I look at the clock, then I think we have to go just to the next before I just get in a hurry here, because the other orientation, and you will get the PDF anyway, so you can look later in detail what is written here in the definitions of the levels. Like in the self-driving car, we can define 5 levels from just inform, what we already do for decades now on the web, because the web is old now, and it's decade old. And then we have full autonomous commerce on level 5, where the AI negotiates. What we future researchers are talking about since 10 years, that is negotiating agents, but they were not real. They were just in the future. We said maybe in 2030 or maybe in 2040, but now it's coming very fast. So the last one.
Yeah, maybe one switch in topics, right? Because now we looked in depth into these levels of assistance and how you can group them and categorize them. The other part of the question we haven't touched yet, right? What does this mean for our research and for our clients, right? If these touch points I mentioned in the beginning, if they disappear more and more, which options do the brands have to still be relevant for the users and be in touch with the users?
Yeah.
Willi, I don't hear you.
I think we lost Willi for a second.
Yeah,
Maybe
it looks
just
as
go
if
on,
he
Julia.
was frozen, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah. Actually, I think it's Willi's last
go ahead.
slide, and mine, the one after, is very closely linked to this. So we wanted to finish with the thoughts about what brands can still do. And there's, of course, 3 different routes, right? One is taking care of the agents. So make sure that your readable for the agents. Willi, now you were frozen. I continue now. The other one is what you called really experience magnetic, right? You have to find a way to have a different kind of touch points that's so attractive and inspiring that users use it. And
Exactly, yeah.
yeah.
It might split, and what you see is Gucci on Roblox, you know, this hype around AR and VR some years ago, but there's still people experimenting with it because then you can create experiences while you have absolutely no experience if the agent is doing everything, of course, zero experience. So it's very logical that you might have a split of the ecosystem in marketing and even in advertising. You have high-end ads in advertising maybe, and you have no ads, only high-end ads. And then you have a trusted concierge strategy like Ralph Lauren or also Levi's is doing, just using, you see, it's a trivial smartphone here, but you see this is a big signal in this direction of more autonomy and what brands can do then. And I give to Julia about the question what to measure and what to do with its situation. Yeah,
exactly. It's my last slide goes very much hand in hand with yours, because of course, this is also what's driving us, right? What does this all mean for our research in the future, right? What are we going to investigate? And yes, of course, the one piece is the AI experience, what we call it. So how users experience the interaction with the agents. That is partly about this optimizing for the agent, but also optimizing the agent for the user, right? This will be, I'm pretty sure, one aspect of future studies. Then you have this aspect of quality of the recommendations. So how well are the recommendations the agents brings back to you? How well are they perceived and received by the shopper, by the user? That's a lot about how to, on the one hand, how to make sure that you get into the recommended products, but also how to present the products then, right? So that's a bit like optimizing PDPs nowadays, I guess. Yeah, and the third aspect, those new kinds of touch points, right, that you mentioned, Willi, of course, that will also be an interesting question for UX, for design. So, of course, we won't be without touch points anymore, but...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, looking at the time, sorry, but we are already, we only have 1 minute left. So looking at the time, I would say for today, we leave it with that. I'm sure this is not our last session on shopping agents, but I would love to have a look at the poll and hear if there are questions from the audience. And of course, in case you haven't asked your question now or you have to run to the next meeting, you are very welcome also to get in touch with us, with Willi or me later. And we will also share the slides with you. So, but maybe we have some questions now.
Perfect. Yes, there's a couple of questions, and I'll be happy
do you
to
have the poll results?
Yeah. So nobody said, yes, I have been dealing with AI shopping agents in my professional life. That's like 0%. And the other, I'd say 62% say not at all. So they have not used AI agents for shopping at all. And yes, in my private life is 30% and 8% said both actually. But so in professional life, 0, and some people, so 31, like about 40% said yes, they have had experiences with AI shopping. And yes, there's a couple of questions. I'll try to summarize. Well, let's start with the research-related question. So you already mentioned it, Julia, what is then or what will be available as KPIs for us researchers, since now we're very KPI driven, of course. Do you have an idea?
Yeah. That's an interesting one, not only for us and for the research, but also, nowadays our clients really closely look at the whole funnel, right? And they track it no matter if you do it with Google or you're from a visit up to a purchase, right? You track the conversions step by step in the funnel. And if most of those steps disappear, it's really a good question, right? What KPIs will be left? And I think it refers a bit to my last slide, right? On the one hand, of course, you still have the hard facts, the number of purchases or the quota of purchases. That's, of course, still left as the hardest KPI overall. But yeah, in the different steps of the funnel, it's going to be harder, right? You can only look at those pieces of the touch points that will be left. And I think that will be a lot about how often do we appear in those recommendations of the agent. I think this is going to be the most important new KPI.
Thank you.
What do you think, Willi?
Yeah, I think to bring some easy perspective on it, definitely is just another interface. So you still have to understand how to optimize the new interface, and then clients can come to you like I fantasized that they will have, instead of also they will still have websites, but also maybe some agents and want to give it to you for free, for instance. And then they ask you how to make it good and trustful and easy to use. So the interface has still to be optimized, in this case, even if a lot of things collapse.
Do you have another question for us,
there's
Philip?
another question that's a bit more customer experience. So when you say this shopping is over like it was, and the search bar is not gonna be the most relevant part, the question from the participant is, what do you think about, like, where can the brands actually do something, and is post-purchase all that's left? So it's
no, I don't think so. I mean, it's in a way, it's closely connected to the first question, right? I think, of course, it's not only post-purchase, but you will try to get into those, into what the agent recommends to the users, right? So I think that will be a big topic. And those new touch points that Willi already mentioned. So I think there still will be levers to kind of try it to be more successful.
And there's still always a counter trend, like maybe in 2 years we talk about authentic shopping because people enjoy shopping. This could also happen,
Yeah, true.
And then there's a more technical question. So you mentioned the protocol, Google UCP, right? And the other one, ACP, is mentioned. And will it mean that every like of the main 5 AI providers will have their own kind of protocol, or what do you think? Like, will they all go to one protocol? I think OpenAI had the ACP
Hard to
that was
say.
mentioned, right?
That's really hard to say already. It's the same already now with the different generative search models, right? I guess there will be some kind of a consolidation sooner or later, because otherwise, or there's a way to solve it so that the user doesn't have to care which protocol has been used. Yeah, but that's really
I just read a prediction that in 2027, like I don't remember exactly the number, but more than 20% of people will have a kind of AI bubble, so to speak, because we call this splinternet when the internet is fragmented, because China has their own AI rules and regulations. Europe has maybe, and USA has, and this, I think it was a Gartner prediction, and predictions are always fallible. But prepare for some complications here. If you're selling to the world, then you need to understand this so-called splinternet of AI, splinter from split internet. And this will be a bit tricky. Also, localization was already tricky for huge brands. Yeah, localization is a huge effort to make your offer localized for each continent, for each language, and so on. And so this will go on like this. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And I don't see anybody raising their hand here to be joining the discussion. That's fine, but we thank you so much for joining the webinar, and we'll send you a post in email with the recording and some more infos as well. And we also wanted to take the chance to mention our upcoming Insights webinars. And I think this month we have one coming up. It's from Michael, our CEO, about the impact of AI-generated advertising. And that's also very interesting. And please sign up for this one, and we'll keep you posted on the whole series. And of course, we'll thank Julia and Willi for preparing this and for walking us through this interesting topic. And hopefully we'll hear more about it. Then we'll close the session and let you all go to your morning or afternoon, wherever you are.
Thanks
Thank
a
you,
lot.
Philip.
Bye-bye.